Are you listening? Damn.
We cannot tell you how happy and thrilled and excited we are to have this man on the Kelly Alexander Show. AJ McLean of the Backstreet Boys.
Hi.
Can I high five you just
Yes,
because?
please.
So first of all, I used this once before, but I have to say you are ridiculously funky.
Thank you.
I
like
love
that.
everything. I've been obsessed with you and the nail polish for years. So
Thank
can
you.
I actually start off with that? Why that? I love that you do it.
You know, I really have no answer for you.
Really, eh?
I've always just been different. I guess
Okay.
it's just me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was the guy liner back in the day, the nail polish has always stayed. I think the longest stint I've gone in the past 10 to 15 years without nail polish was about a month.
Wow.
And I felt naked. I felt weird and I felt awkward. But now I'm trying to be clever with it. I'm doing gels now.
Okay. Okay.
I do red on my ring finger for my wife and
Yeah.
pink for my daughter.
Nice.
And the rest of it's black for me.
Now, do you find that in the band you are the eclectic one, and like personality-wise too?
I would say yeah. I mean, obviously when you're in a group dynamic for so long, you tend to kind of lose yourself a little bit. So I think
Right.
everyone's finally come to their individual places as far as their identity goes. You know, everyone knows their place, knows their look, knows their image. Me, I'm constantly changing, but I feel like now where I'm at now is kind of where I'm just going to settle.
Okay.
I go back and forth between, I think, a hipster vibe
Yep.
and then more urban street. So street, but not like big baggy pants where it looks like I went to the bathroom, you know. That was me back when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Everything was oversized and baggy, and now it's all form-fitting and couture, and, you know,
Nice.
you got to kind of go with the times.
Now, does that play into your upcoming solo album? The difference between the music you guys do as Backstreet Boys and your personal choice as AJ McLean? Like, how different is your musical taste to group?
You know, it's funny. When I first started making my solo project, I didn't realize it at first until I was listening back to like mixes and stuff, how much it still sounded like me from the Backstreet Boys.
Okay.
Because it's really hard, again, after being in this group for almost 24 years, it's really hard not to encompass that sound still somewhat in my music with harmonies. And it's just like, oh man, it still sounds like Backstreet Boys. I'm trying to do something individual and separate myself. And finally now, after about a year and a half of still making the record, I'm still not done.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep recording until the end of this year.
Okay.
Now I'm kind of finally finding that sound that really identifies me separate.
Okay.
Very, very soulful, R&B based. It's still pop. I'm always going to be pop.
Yep.
I'm not going to get away from that ever.
That's fine.
Which is fine. It's been a blessing for 25 years almost. But yeah, I'm more soul, funk, R&B. That's kind of the wheelhouse that I feel best suits me. So.
Are you trying different producers to get to where you want to be with the sound?
Yeah, I mean, actually, the one producer, Jordan Omley, who I worked with on predominantly all of this album up until now, he and I had he's worked with Backstreet Boys back in 2009 was the first time that we all worked together. And then he did 2 songs on this most recent album. And him and I have just always stayed friends. We're both sneakerheads.
Nice.
We have a lot of similarities. We're both obsessed with Friends. Literally, it used to be every day we would call each other and just random pop quiz and try to stump each other. I actually got him last night. He got stumped. So, but now that I just recently got back with our old manager, Johnny Wright,
Yep.
he's now bringing out brand new producers I've never actually met or even worked with before with a whole new sound. And it's a sound that I've been dreaming of for years. And it's been difficult for me to find the right fit.
Okay.
I've worked with plenty of producers and they've all tried to get that sound that I want for me. And Jordan has been the only one that's gotten close. But still, Jordan and I's relationship still kind of is heavy around pop.
Yep.
But some of the new producers that Johnny's bringing to the table now are very urban, very old school, Teddy Pendergrass, Al Green vibe, which is what I've been dreaming of.
Nice.
So I cannot wait to get home and get back in the studio.
Now, I read an article like a couple years ago about how the music that you listen to as like a 13, 14, 15-year-old is the music that stays with you for life. Do you agree? And who are your people that have stayed with you for life?
Oh, wow. That is actually a really good observation. It is very true, actually. For me, a lot of the groups like Boyz II Men, I mean, I actually did a song with Sean Stockman on my album.
That's amazing.
He's a great guy. All those guys are. We used to look up to those guys and emulate them and try to be like them. Geez, who else? Still listen to Prince. Still listen to Stevie Wonder. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of Three Dog Night.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of CCR, which is what I kind of grew up with. My mom was a rocker, total hippie mom. So it was just embedded in my brain. But yeah, I still listen to a lot of the same stuff. What's crazy is my wife is the biggest Beatles fan ever. And for her age, it's kind of shocking. And she also loves like old Frankie Valli, Barbra Streisand. My daughter now, who's not even 3 yet, we're driving in the car like a couple of weeks ago, and she goes, "Daddy, can you put the Beatles on?" Like, really, a 2.5-year-old wants to hear the Beatles, and she knows all the words.
Wow.
She's obsessed with when you play a brand new song, she'll let you play like 5 seconds, and she goes, "Again?" And I didn't catch on as to why. She's trying to learn it and memorize it as she goes. So you can't get through a full song the first time she hears it.
Wow.
Just know that. But yeah, so, and because of this now, her third birthday party is going to be a 50s theme.
Nice.
So featuring this Frankie Valli guys that look like Frankie Valli that I'm having come to her birthday party. So.
What's it going to feel like when Daddy AJ McLean has like 13-year-old daughter who's in love with whatever boy band comes out at that point? How is Daddy AJ McLean going to handle that?
I'm going to go with her.
Okay.
I'm going to introduce her to the boy band at the time.
Yeah.
She'll hopefully be a singer as well. I mean, she's already singing and dancing. Obviously, whatever she wants to be, I'm going to support. But she's just got that gene, I think. She just loves to grab a mic and sing. But I don't know, man. It's going to be weird, you know? I mean, she looks up to me and to her 4 uncles, and she loves it. And she used to have a slight crush on Kevin, I think, for a little while. She'd always get shy around Kevin. Now it's Nick. So, you know, all the girls go for Nick, you know? The young ones love Nick.
It's true.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. But
what would you say to, if you could sit down with, like, let's say the guys of 5 Seconds of Summer or One Direction, and I mean, they've already been doing it for a couple of years, but what advice would you give them just because you've lived all of it?
Get a good lawyer.
Okay.
First and foremost. You know, stay true to yourself. Don't try to, you know, stay in your own lane. That's one thing that Backstreet's always really been very prideful about, is that we've never tried to copy what's on the radio. We've always stayed in our own lane, and that's, I think, what's really kept us pressing forward.
Okay.
Same with One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer and any new boy bands. Stay in your wheelhouse. Do what you do. Have fun. Take the time out of your schedule to enjoy life, friends, family. And even if you're having a really crappy day, stop and take a picture with a fan. It goes for miles and miles and miles. And that changes their entire world. So even if you're not feeling it that day, just stop, take a picture, shake some hands, give some hugs. It's worth it.
I'm not sure if you've heard of the Canadian band Headley. They're pretty big here.
I actually have heard of them.
Okay,
Yes,
so lead singer Jacob Hogard once in an interview with me said that the hardest part of being in a band is being in a band. How do you feel about that?
You know, now, it's funny. When I first tried to do a solo project back in 2005, and I did, and it was only released in Southeast Asia. Sadly, the album I thought was fantastic. It never had a real chance to really get off its feet. But, you know, I feel like when you're in a group, you tend to lose yourself.
Right.
So, but the upside about being in my group is we're all very compassionate. We're all very understanding and patient with one another. We want each other to succeed as individuals in whatever that is: acting, singing, dancing, theater. You know, we don't want to hold each other back. So there are certain groups that won't let members go off and do their own thing. Or they break up, or, you know, somebody leaves. But with us, I think because we're family, because we're so tight knit, I don't see it as being an issue with us.
Talk to us about your foundation, Live Together, because I've watched some stuff on online on YouTube. I watched where you went to the high school and did the band room and all that stuff. You seem so content and at peace with yourself doing this. Like, why is that, and how did it come to you? Because you don't need to do any of this, and you are, which is great.
You know, when you're in the limelight and you are a celebrity, you have a certain responsibility, I feel, in my opinion. And you're kind of put up on this pedestal. And you've been given so many blessings. I have a roof over my head, food on the table. I have a beautiful life. And I attribute all that to the music, my success, to the fans, the loyal fans. But at the end of the day, what can I do to reciprocate? How can I give back? And once Jordan and I started this foundation, we knew right from the start that this was going to be something bigger than we could even dream. It's for the people, by the people. We ask local communities, how can we help? And with the high school, with Marshall Fundamental High School, it just kind of landed in our lap. Second day of shooting the video, that they had been, $35,000 worth of musical instruments have been stolen. And their band room, as most band rooms in high schools, they look like crap.
Yes.
So we actually had all the fans that were in my video pay $25 towards the foundation to be in the video. We raised about $8,000. And then I matched that personally. We went back to Marshall. We got all the instruments back and gutted the entire music room. I was on my hands and knees putting in flooring, painting, pardon me. And when we got to see these kids' faces when they walked in that room, it was just... I can't even explain it. Like, there were tears, there was laughter. Last thing I said before I left, I said, keep the room clean. We spent 3 hard-earned weekends on this room. Don't mess it up.
Which artist who has come to you or even maybe just social media messaged you, like tweeted you or whatever, that it has meant the most, that they love what you do?
Wow.
Because I'm sure you have a lot of...
It kind of ranges from... My wife from another life, Miss Kathy Griffin.
Nice.
That's what she calls herself, my wife from another life. She's just amazing. Like, she always makes fun, and she loves her boy bands. She loves her gays. She's fantastic. Her and I are like two in the same. But when you really get her like one-on-one, she's just so down to earth, and she's so appreciative, and she just loves the music, and she's a fan of music. Actually, being on tour with New Kids was a blast. I grew up listening to those guys.
Nice.
So to be on tour with them and like be down below the stage changing and like listening and singing along to right stuff, I'm like, yeah, this is awesome, and those guys are great. Since we did that tour, this will be the first year in almost 5 years that my family do not go to Joey Mac's house Christmas morning.
Wow.
We always went for the last 4 years to Joey's house. He'd make waffles and bacon and eggs, and this year they're going to be back in Boston, sadly. So,
wow.
But probably the biggest highlight for me was meeting Steven Tyler. I think that really changed the game for me. The fact that he was a fan, he sang our music. His daughter, actually, we were doing this radio show in New York for Z100. And backstage, I guess Liv was trying to get into our dressing room just to come say hi.
Okay.
And our security at the time didn't know who she was. They thought she was a fan, and they had her escorted out of backstage. And then when she came back in, I was like, guys, don't you know who that is? That's Steven Tyler's daughter. So, and then Steven came in and said hi, and it was the most raddest moment.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's your favorite piece of Backstreet Boy choreography that you will not mind doing when you're 87?
If I could still do any of it when I'm 87, probably the most memorable would be the Backstreet's Back choreography. I mean, the first half of the choreography I might not be doing when I'm 87, but this is the easiest thing to do unless I get arthritis or carpal tunnel. But, aside from that one's going to be the one that will go down in history. Everybody knows that move.
It's true.
If you know
Iconic.
Backstreet Boys.
Yes, iconic. What song will not mind singing till you're 87? Because it's probably not one of the singles. I'm thinking it's probably like
actually
an
it's
album
not.
track, right?
Get Another Boyfriend is one of my favorites. I still keep trying to get it in the show, and I keep getting shut down. There's a brand new tour coming up. I'm getting it back in the show, dang it. Don't Want to Lose You Now is one of my all-time favorites. And actually, the go-to would be Siberia.
Nice. Okay.
It is hands down, I feel, the best record we've ever done. And it never saw the light of day as a single. It was almost a single.
Okay.
And Jive shut it down, and we were very bummed about it. But it was such a great emotional record.
Nice.
So, but there's certain ones I can live without, like Quit Playing Games. If I never do that song again, I'm good. I'm good. I don't care how many times we can remix it live.
Yeah.
It's still like, oh, God, not this song again. I want it that way, though. We'll definitely,
Okay.
that one will also be one of those.
Can you tell me what it feels like when you're like looking out at the crowd? And because obviously I'm sure you see the first several rows at least. What does it feel like, AJ, when like you just see like, because now it's like 25, 35-year-old women losing their minds still for you. Like how does that feel like after almost 24 years, like you said?
Well, it's different because back in the day when all the, preteens were screaming their heads off, that was one thing. Now that everyone's older, it's like ladies' night. So like they all come out, they're pre-gaming it in their limo.
It's true.
And they come out and they're drunk girls are louder than I think teenage girls. And there's a different dynamic when like the fans are just letting loose and having fun. And you look out in the audience and you just see some crazy stuff now, stuff that you would never see 20 years ago, but things are pretty much the same. Like
Really,
it really hasn't changed.
Okay.
It's, the best part is now all these fans that have been with us since the very, very dawn of Backstreet Boys, now they have families of their own. So they're playing Backstreet Boys for their young sons and daughters as if we're a brand new group. So push us before you push One Direction and Bieber and everyone else. Push the Backstreet Boys. Come on, push. So
The album, the anthem, which is going to be your new solo album, is there like going to be a pervasive message that you're going to have with it, or is it really a collection of songs and you're just putting it out there to the universe?
I feel like now with going back in the studio and kind of making more new music, it's kind of left to be seen. But the general consensus across the board with me with the album is it's just a free-spirited record, and I'm trying to make it very relatable, sexy, fun, fresh, funky, as you like to call me.
Yeah.
And just not your typical pop record. I mean, there's a song that I absolutely love called "You Make Me Sick," and it's what I consider the anti-love song.
Okay.
And it's you're with that person, and everything they do makes you want to just wring your own neck, but you love them so much you just can't leave.
Right.
And I know so many guys and girls that have been in that exact same position. So I'm really, really proud of where this album's going, and I can't wait to see where it finally finishes.
Okay.
So yeah. And there's also a song that I wrote about my daughter called Fire Breathing Dragons, which
Amazing.
I will not be able to sing live if she's right there.
Yep.
She'll have to be off to the side of the stage, or I will not get through the first verse.
Tell us if in one word, I know this is going to be hard for you, but if I say the name Kevin Richardson, one word to describe him.
Eyebrows. Sorry, is this
Nick Carter,
big butt,
Howie D,
sweet,
Brian Littrell.
goofball.
Nice. Now, before I let you go, we've created a game just for you.
Okay.
Called Do You Know Your Boys? So
We'll
I'm
see.
Gonna see if this works out.
I think
But it's
I
not
know
what
them
you
better
think
than
it
they freaking know themselves.
So
the pressure's on. now.
What is the name of the One Direction member who recently left the group?
Zayn.
Back in 2013, your friends from New Kids on the Block went on tour, which was known as the Package Tour. Which two groups went with them?
98 Degrees, Boyz II Men.
Which BSB member's younger brother released the song How I Beat Shaq?
Aaron Carter.
Nice. English singer Robbie Williams was a part of which group?
Take that.
Look at you.
Don't mess with me.
First of all, how many members are in the group Hanson, and are all of them married with kids?
3 and no.
We all are.
Oh, they really? Dang it. Dang. I was
You're
on
doing
a
pretty
roll.
good, though. You are good. Okay.
You threw a wrench with that one there. Come on. That was like
Making
two
it work.
questions in one.
It was. I'm sorry. Record producer Maurice Starr created which two groups back in the early 80s?
New Edition and New Kids on the Block.
Boom. And finally, what is the name of the group who have sold more than 175 million albums around the world and are the biggest?
Insane. Oh, nope. Backstreet Boys. Backstreet Boys. I had to do it. Sorry, guys. I love you guys.
I actually have to ask you, are you guys all cool? Because I know there was
yeah.
like this ridiculous thing. Obviously, now I would assume you would
The
be.
media obviously was pitting us against each other.
Yeah.
There was never, it was all healthy competition. I think if
Okay.
anything, we were more competitive amongst ourselves.
Okay.
But I mean, we just shot a movie with a bunch of boy band guys in
That's
Montana.
amazing.
So, I mean, Joey was there, Chris was there, 3 of my boys, 3 O-Town boys, John
O-Town.
Cicada,
That's amazing.
Carrie Keegan, Jeff Timmons, Deborah Wilson. It was ridiculous. I mean, the best cast ever.
Great.
So, yeah, there's never been beef.
Okay. And the last question, what is the best thing about being a Backstreet Boy?
The best thing about being a Backstreet Boy is getting to do something that you love. I would do it for free. I live for this job.
Nice.
I love to see the people's smiles, people singing along. Music heals the soul. It always will. And a world without music is a world I don't want to live in.
AJ McLean, the Backstreet Boys, right here on the Kelly Alexander Show. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. We've got a lot more great content coming your way, so make sure to subscribe right here and check out all that's coming up on the Kelly Alexander Show.